Hell yeah, let's hear it for indie games. Definitely an alluring concept. Sadly though, there's kind of a reason why most people don't know very much about very many indie games beyond the standout favorites like Cave Story. They're usually underdeveloped, last about 10 minutes, don't do anything that exciting, and are rarely anything other than a puzzle game or shoot 'em up, and by all of this, I mean they typically suck. Noitu Love 2, though, I will say is actually pretty different. Alright, Noitu Love originally hit the net as a freeware game in, I believe, 2006. Did it stand out against the majority of crap? Yeah, but was it actually worth playing? It's free, so you decide. It really didn't establish itself that well, though. Noitu Love 2, though, on the other hand, is a badass game. The level of polish is top-notch, and it is fun as hell. The kind of fun I had with Noitu Love 2 is the same kind of fun I had with Metal Slug. Crazy action everywhere as you blast enemies to shred and thrust through levels, leveling everything behind you to waste. Both games are easy as hell to eventually push yourself through, but the challenge is there if you want to play elegantly. It's not exactly the same, as Metal Slug has you dying a lot, while Noitu Love 2 has you merely getting hit a lot, but it's still a game where if you manage to pull off a perfect run, it'd be something to take pride in and show off to friends. For being a game that no one has ever heard of before, it has some pretty ingenious controls. Your left hand sits on the keyboard in WASD position, where you can make your character run to the side, duck, and jump. Your right hand stays on the mouse and positions the aiming rectal. Left clicking uses your melee attack. Aim at the enemy and your character dashes to him. You can hold the left click to fire a charge shot, which will shoot across the screen. Right clicking will place a shield anywhere on the screen to block projectiles. You can also grab onto hooks via the mouse. It is all so good. You also have dash attacks, a spin attack, wall jumping, and more. The amount of control you have is so much fun, and it all provides a great number of ways to play. Graphics are pretty much Super Nintendo level, but the art is fantastic. Much better than most of the stuff that came out on consoles during that time, or even, well, today. It has personality and flair, and the unique look really keeps the game feeling fresh. The music is kick-ass as well. Sadly, the little story blurbs fail to measure up compared to everything else. I'm sure that on some level it's interesting, but with how the cutscenes were presented, I couldn't even begin to care. At least it's not as if the majority of games from this era had great storyline presentations either, but I really wouldn't have minded a little something more. It does feel as if some humor in the dialogue is missing when keeping in mind the otherwise comedic-looking locations and enemies. Noitu Love 2 is great as an ultra-charged, action-packed romp to keep installed to give a swing every now and then to show off to friends. The game is only about 30 minutes, which on one hand sort of fits the bill, but it's still probably only about half as long as the ideal game of this type should be. That's entirely subjective, I know, but it's hard not to want something a little more out of this, and this probably says quite a bit about the talent of the developer. Noitu Love 2, despite being great at what it is, still feels a little incomplete. Some may find Noitu Love to be a little too easy. You can make the game look like an execution of elegance with a little practice, showing that there is some depth and that the problem isn't gigantic, but at the same time, you will never feel as if you are in any sort of danger. Metal Slug is easy as hell to beat too, but there's a level of shame you feel each time you get your ass capped and you need to continue. In the same way, getting 5% ticked off of your health bar doesn't feel the greatest, but it's not like you're losing, so ultimately success doesn't feel as substantial. Noitu Love 2 is still definitely recommended, especially if you want a game that takes the best of old school and mixes in some new concepts and ideas. Check it out. Noitu Love 2 for the PC receives a 7 out of 10.